Hi there, students. I'm XS. That's little x, little s, which stands for extra sweet, because that's what I am. This will be the last video specifically devoted to hiragana within this series. I'm almost certainly going to be doing more videos in the future that focus on hiragana, but honestly, by the time you finish this video, you will have seen all the hiragana that you really need in order to understand modern Japanese. These hiragana videos are intended to be watched as a sequence, so make sure you've watched the previous videos before you tackle this one. So before we jump in for today, let's talk really briefly about reading and writing in Japanese. So far, my goal has been to help expose you to seeing all the hiragana so that you can associate the sound when you see them. We haven't really talked about the reverse of that, being able to remember how to write the hiragana, but really that's just something that will take more practice on your own. I will do some videos in the future on stroke order, the order in which you write out each line or stroke for each hiragana, but right now that's not our concern. So when you're done with this video, then you've seen every hiragana. Does that mean you're done and you can officially read Japanese? Well, unfortunately not. We still have to learn katakana, which I'll talk about in my next series of videos, and kanji, which, if I'm being honest, kanji will take a lot of time to master. I consider my own kanji literacy to be extremely high, and yet still I come across kanji fairly regularly that I don't know. A lot of Japanese people are the same way. Actually, that's why many of the rarer kanji will always be written in furigana hovering above them. Furigana are basically the readings of the kanji, so you'll see the kanji, and then above it you'll see furigana, which are written usually in hiragana, and that helps even native speakers who don't know every kanji off the top of their head. Okay, well, I've said a lot about a lot, and we really haven't started today's lesson, so let's jump in. Ikimashou! Now, let's quickly review what we did last time. This is the ma-gyo, ma-mi-mu-me-mo. Not so difficult in my opinion. And these are our Y sounds. There's just three, so it breaks our pattern a little bit. Ya, you, and yo. Ya, you, yo. And these are our R sounds. Remember that these sounds are somewhere between an L and an R, so they really sound like ra-di-do-de-ro, ra-di-do-de-ro, ra-di-do-de-ro. And then we have our leftovers, which restore 1/16 of your health at the end of each turn. These are wa, o, and n, the N sound. Remember that N sound can only come at the end of another syllable, like an, in, un, en, or on. And if we put all this together, then we have our full hiragana chart. Look how much we've learned already. Oh, you know what? Actually, this looks wrong to me. Well, see, usually Japanese is written top to bottom and then right to left. In English, we write left to right and then top to bottom. So we've actually made this chart the English way, and I want to make sure that you see it the Japanese way. So, どうしよう. Wait, I wonder. So maybe if I just smack the board, maybe I can get the hiragana to fall over so that they're turned the right way. I can do that, right? I'll just hit the board and they'll fall. I'm gonna give it a try. Eh. There. That's better. Now they're in the um 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 you weren't supposed to see that. I'm sorry about that. I'll just stand here. I'm really sorry. That was embarrassing. Anyway, let's learn. So I want to talk to you again about these sounds. Ya, you, and yo. You've seen them and you know them, so that's great. But now we're going to use them in a slightly different way. These characters can appear in words like tenki yoho, which is a weather forecast, and that's great too. So yo just follows all the rules we expected from hiragana so far. However, these Y sounds can also appear in their small forms beside another hiragana, which changes the sound of them both actually. Let's look at some examples. Here's kya, kyu, and kyo. It's not kiya or kiyu or kiyo because that's a different set of sounds. In these cases, you sort of treat the small ya, yu, or yo like a slide that attaches to your first consonant. Notice that these Y sounds will only ever attach to sounds that already end in an E. I'm not going to give you a word for each and every combination of E hiragana with each and every Y sound. I'm just going to give you one example for each consonant. So here you can see a word that includes small yo. This is kyo. It's a common word in Japanese because it means today. Kyo genki desu ka? How are you today? Just so you know, these small Y sounds in Japanese are very, very common. So don't think that just because they're small, they aren't mighty. Let's look at what the small Y hiragana do to a she sound. She plus ya makes sha. She with you makes shu. And she along with yo make sho. That's the sho from ikimashou. Let's go. Let's go. Why don't we use sho to make the word saisho? Saisho means beginning. Saisho kara ima made takusan naraimashita ne. We've learned a lot since the beginning, haven't we? Alright, moving right along with the chi sound, we're going to make cha, chu, and cho. If I'm being honest, this is another very important set of sounds in Japanese, as I think they're really quite common. We're going to use cha to make ocha. Ocha means tea. The o at the front is actually not really providing any meaning, it's just an honorific. Some words in Japanese are very important, and so we attach an o to the front to sort of elevate the word and signify that it deserves respect. Moving on from T, we have here nya, new, and nyo. I guess my cat fans would be really happy right now that they can make the nya sound. But I don't want to think about cats right now or I'll get sad and... Right. Okay. New word. Nyukoku. Careful, there are a few things going on here. So you have the U sound with new, and you have the U sound that follows right after. So it's nyukoku. It's really 4 units of time. Nyu, u, koku. Nyukoku is a word meaning to enter a country, which is something that you can only do if you open the country. Stop having it be closed. These sounds are hya, hyu, and hyo. See, these small Y sounds are pretty easy. They always follow the same pattern. Now we'll make the word hyomen. That's surface, like the surface of a table or something like that. Hyomen. Moving right along, we have mya, mu, and myo. And we can use mya to make myaku, which means something like your pulse. Shinzo no myaku, pulse of the heart. And this is the last combination with these small Y sounds, rya, ryu, and ryo. And this word is ryoko. Ryoko means to travel, a journey, to take a trip, something like that. Do you like to travel? I always really enjoyed traveling with the students, getting to be in a car, sticking my head out the window, inevitably accidentally eating a bug. Very fun. So the next thing that we're going to tackle is something called diacritics. A diacritic in Japanese is a little mark that changes the sound of a hiragana. You could call this onbin, or sound change. There are really specific pairings of hiragana plus diacritic that produce specific sounds, so be careful. If you put two little lines, which we call dakuten, next to a kagyo sound, they're going to become gagyo sounds. So K softens to a G. That means that these sounds go from kakikukeko to gagigugego. Gagigugego. I'll teach you just a couple words from these G sounds. First is fugu. Fugu, of course, is that blowfish that everyone says is extremely dangerous to eat. I actually don't think it's that dangerous, and I would even be brave enough to try it if I were allowed to eat people food. We can also make the word gyo. Gyo is the word that we've been using when we talk about things like agyo, kagyo, and sagyo. It just means line. Here's another set with these diacritics. The S sounds with the dakuten are going to become Z sounds. So sa, shi, su, se, and so will become za, ji, zu, ze, and zo. Careful, that second one does break the rules again. It's more of a J type sound than a Z sound like the rest. So she is going to become G, not Z. Using these sounds will make gyoza. Gyoza, of course, are gyoza. You and I both see that the English is spelled with an O and not a U, and yet the Japanese really should be gyo-u-za, gyoza. Just something to remember. Anyway, if you don't know, gyoza are Japanese dumplings that are filled with meat or vegetables. I've snuck a few off the counter when no one was looking, and I can tell you, they are pretty tasty. Let's also make a word with that Jew sound. This is Jew. It means 10. I promise at some point I'll do a whole lesson on numbers in Japanese because they are surprisingly tricky. Here's another set of hiragana with diacritic marks. So we'll start with the T sounds, ta, chi, tsu, te, and to, and we're going to create D sounds, da, ji, zu, de, do. Da, ji, zu, de, do. Those are actually quite tricky for me, especially ji. Luckily, ji is not very common in Japanese at all. Zu, however, is very common, and it's different from zu. It might be hard to tell the difference. Zu, zu. Zu, zu. Zu is kind of like a D and a Z at the same time. You'll get there. Don't worry. This word in Japanese is mado. Mado means window. I love sitting by the window and looking out. I just enjoy being able to see nature from the safety of inside. We can also make ude. Ude means arm. It's only used for the arm on your body, though. It's not like arms the way we talk about weapons in English. That's going to be a totally different word in Japanese. Alright, our next set of sounds are the B sounds. Ha becomes ba with the dakuten mark. He becomes bi. Pu or fu becomes bu. He becomes be. And ho becomes bo. So let's make a couple B words. Here's byoin. That means hospital. Have you ever had to spend time in a hospital? I had to spend a long time in a hospital after the chasing a car incident. Let's also make zenbu. Several tricky concepts here. First, ze, se with dakuten, then n, our standalone n sound, and then bu, hu with dakuten, zenbu. And zenbu means everything. But we don't have time to talk about everything because we need to talk about these. Good news, bad news. Bad news, there's another kind of diacritic. In Japanese, we call them handakuten. The good news, this is the only set of hiragana where they're going to appear. They turn ha, hi, hu, he, and ho into pa, pi, pu, pe, and po. Pa, pi, pu, pe, po. So now we can make p sounds in Japanese. Just remember that ha with a dakuten, or two little lines, becomes ba, and ha with a handakuten, or a little circle, becomes pa. So ha can either become a B sound or a P sound. All right, so we'll make just a couple words. This is sampo. Sampo is a walk. Walkies? I have been informed that no walkies. Anyway, actually, the P hiragana sounds are pretty rare, so we can probably get away with maybe just one example for now. Plus, I kind of want to rush this lesson along so that maybe afterwards walkies. Do you remember this guy? This is tsu. Well, sort of. This is small tsu. Just like the Y sounds can appear in small forms, tsu can also appear in a small form called chisai tsu, or small tsu. This is a bit of a tricky concept. Technically, small tsu doesn't make any sound on its own. The way I think of it, small tsu makes you hold the next consonant just a little longer than normal. I know that sounds tricky, so let's look at a quick example. This word is kippu. So you're really just extending that P sound and holding on to it for a little extra beat. It's almost like you pause in the middle of the word. Kippu. If you only had ki and pu, then you would say them kipu. But if you have ki, small tsu, and pu, then it's kippu. When you see the small tsu, start making the next sound, stop for a second, consider your life choices, and then finish the sound. Kippu. Just like that. Kippu. Oh, right. I guess you're going to be wanting to know what kippu actually means too, right? Such demanding students. Kippu means ticket, like a train ticket or a bus ticket. Okay, this is it, really. This is our last word that we're going to learn together in the hiragana lessons. This word is chotto. So you got that cho sound, and then you have the small tsu, and then you have to, and you would say it chotto. Not choto, but chotto. Really, the places that use the small tsu usually to me sound better with an extra little pause anyway. Chotto. Chotto means a little bit, just a little. It's different from the word for small, which is chisai. You can use chotto in different constructions, like chotto nemui, I'm a little tired, or chotto hen, that's a little strange. So basically, you're meaning chotto in sentences that should say a little bit of something. However, you can also use chotto in another way. You can say it on its own, and by itself, chotto can mean something like that's a little bit something something something. The meaning of that changes depending on your inflection. So if you sort of yell chotto, that means hey, that's a little. So really, you're saying like, hey, that's rude, without actually saying rude. You're omitting the part of the sentence that might be offensive or too harsh. If you say it in a really hesitant little way, like chotto, then you're implying that something is difficult to do. Chotto. So let's say somebody just asked you out on a date and you really don't want to go. You don't want to say, no, you're stinky, because that might hurt their feelings. So instead, you can say, chotto, which just means like, oh, I don't think I can. By the way, I hear chotto a lot when I get too excited because chotto matte means please wait a second. So if I'm too enthusiastic about going outside, I'll definitely hear chotto as like, just wait a second. That's it then. Quiz time. What's this word? How would you pronounce it? You now have all the hiragana tools that you need to pretty much read any word in Japanese that you see. But this one may still be tricky. You pronounce it Kyoto. I used to live in Kyoto and I loved it so much. If you got Kyoto right, then this one should be really easy. How would you say it? Tokyo, of course. Note the difference in spelling between how we write it and say it in Japanese versus how we write it in English. It just looks weird to spell it Toukyo in English, so we don't bother. Okay, y'all are so smart that I know that you're going to have no trouble at all with this little guy. How would you say this word? It means rabbit, and you say it usagi. Right. How about this one? It means like business or work, specifically the operation of a business, the doing of it. Doing business. You pronounce it gyomu. Gyomu. Here's another one. We've seen all these hiragana before, so this should be simple. The meaning is daughter, or it might make you think of a group of Japanese pop stars. So how do you say it? Musume. Good job. Two left. This one is what? It's a verb meaning to aim for, like aiming for a goal. And you say it mezasu. And last one, it's a difficult word. Try to use everything that we've learned so far and put it all together. It's a word meaning vertical, like a vertical line. So you say it suichoku. Suichoku. So that's it. That's the end of the quiz. Let me know how you did in the comments. Well, students, we're at the end of this small step in our journey together. We've tackled all the hiragana. I'm going to say it again, but I'm so proud of you all. Here's what to expect next from me. In a few days, I'm going to put out a new video. This will be a test. Yep, it's time to test you on how well you've learned all the hiragana from all the lessons that I've put out so far. Feel free to take it when it drops and then comment to let me know how you did. No stress or anything. I'm a cool Puppy-Sensei who doesn't believe in grades. In fact, I'd give you all an A super plus. After the test, I'm going to start teaching katakana. Katakana is a much rarer form than hiragana, but it's still very important to know. Without katakana, you can't write wan, which is bark bark in Japanese, and I definitely need to teach you how to do that. So, I really want to thank you all for staying late today. I know this lesson was a little bit longer, but I think you're all wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, I do want to thank Manager-sama for all the work that she does for me. I would be lost without her wisdom and knowledge. As always, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Got a lot of stuff going on the channel. Don't forget, I also stream in the after-school hours on Twitch, and I would absolutely love to see you all there. I'm rubbish, but I'm enthusiastic. Please remember to lead with love. I've been XS. See you later. Mata ne!